Alrighty, the first season of Book of Boba Fett is now concluded, and rather than doing a review on an episode by episode basis as I was doing before, I just thought I'd just do one review right now because of what I feel about the show, which is it was horrible. After reviewing 3 episodes, I just felt like it wasn't even worth doing an episode by episode review because the show was so boring. It was horribly put together, like the way it was going from the past and the present and the past. Mostly the past, not much was getting done in the present. Boba Fett didn't really do much of anything in like those first 3 episodes. And then when I watched episode 4, not much happened in that one either. It just explained how he came to be with Fennec Shand, etc., etc. But still, not much happened. And it also gave us the answer as to why Boba Fett wanted to do this in the first place. Well, he just feels he's smarter than everybody else. So why not stop being a bounty hunter, what he's good at, because that's literally what he's done his whole life. So rather than do that because he feels he's smarter than everybody else who hired him, he just wants to be a crime boss because he has so much experience on that front, right? I mean, evidently he doesn't. Rather than building up a crew before he usurps the chair at Jabba's palace by killing Bib Fortuna, he just goes in there with Fennec Shand, which is great. I mean, she's a master assassin, but you have nothing else. You have no foundation. You just have a chair, one assassin, no crew, no plan, no support, nothing whatsoever. Now, I gave the first episode a pass because it was very introductory, but then I saw little to no improvement as the episodes like went on. And then aside from like the season finale, the best 2 episodes of this season were episodes that were centered around the Mandalorian. So it essentially felt like 2 episodes of the Mandalorian rather than anything having to do with the Book of Boba Fett, which it didn't. I mean, in the first episode with Din Djarin, you only see Fennec Shand at the very end of the episode recruiting like Din Djarin, and then the next episode you see Boba Fett and Fennec Shand and his Fruit Loop biker gang and etc., etc. You only see them for like a few seconds, and then it goes right back to Din Djarin again in Cad Bane. And then in the season finale, I cared far more about Din Djarin and his relationship with Grogu that they showed in like the previous episode, and that how he can't get close to him because it'll make things more difficult for Grogu. And Grogu has a choice: he can be with Din Djarin or he can be a Jedi. He can't do both. And so far, at least for the moment, and we don't know what's gonna happen, but Grogu chose Din Djarin. He chose the Mandalorian. And I cared far more about that than I cared about Boba Fett and his bullshit situation, which he put himself in by not having a crew and a plan, like a way of kind of controlling Mos Espa. He just kind of just went there, hey, I want to be a crime boss. Like, okay. And I want to be in the NBA. I want to be a football player. I want to do this. I want to do that. Can you do it? The answer is clearly no, but he's wearing plot armor, which is far better than Beskar ever could be, and he wins. I understand the importance of showing us what Boba Fett was up to after the events of Return of the Jedi. He got taken in by the Tuskens, he got shown some new combat abilities, and he learned what it means to be part of a tribe, like something more important than who the fuck you work for, who don't give a shit about you if you live or die. They just want that job complete. I get all that, but only 30 minutes was really required. I mean, especially in like the first episode, and then like some flashbacks here and there to kind of connect the dots, because the first 3 episodes were mostly flashbacks. Not much happened in the present day except him having people pay tribute to him getting his ass kicked again. Like every single time you see Boba Fett on screen, he's getting his ass kicked. He hires a bunch of punk ass teenagers, or at least they look like teenagers, on scooters, and he gets a pet, and that's basically it. Nothing much happens. I believe it was in the second episode where Black Krrsantan was shown for the first time in live action, which was really cool, but it would have made a lot more sense for me, or at least it would have been a lot better if he went recruiting people who would be loyal to him, who had the skills necessary to be part of his crew, to help establish him in Mos Espa, to help like assert his dominance and like maintain order in Mos Espa. But instead, he had nothing. He just went around going, asking people to pay tribute to him and saying, hey, you're under my protection, when he has no means. He has no crew to like maintain order in this town, in this city. So that would have been a lot cooler. But instead, we just got those huts that just came in for like 1 episode and then disappeared the next episode. That was really stupid, but yeah. And then there was episode 4, which wasn't about the Tuskens, but it still spent a lot more time in the past, like through flashbacks, than it did in the present, and showing us what happened, like when he found Fennec Shand and how he got his shit back, etc., etc. But given that the season is only 7 episodes, they did not need an entire episode or the majority of an episode to show us like how him and Fennec Shand met and how they came to be part of like the same tribe. And if they did, then they probably shouldn't have spent 2 episodes focused on Din Djarin, because even though I think those are the best 2 episodes of the entire season, They didn't really have anything to do with Boba Fett except for Fennec Shand showing up at the end of episode 5, I believe, and then him recruiting at the end of episode 6 for Boba Fett. But other than that, it had nothing to do with Boba Fett at all. So instead of having those 2 episodes like that, they could have focused on more depth for this show and for Boba Fett and his situation on Tatooine, which they did not. And because of this, because they spent so much time in the past, because they spent 2 episodes on Din Djarin, I don't really feel much anticipation. I don't feel much build up towards the climax of the season. But let's say I was really looking forward to this last episode. Let's say I was extremely excited to watch it. It was still a letdown because they spent a lot of time shooting at robots with shields on them. Like, you're not doing anything, but you continue to shoot at them. And everyone seems to have really bad aim in this show, except when the plot deems it convenient to have really good aim, because the pikes didn't really hit shit. Like, there was like, what, 20 of them shooting at Black Krrsantan, and they hit him like twice. I wasn't really excited for the season finale at all. There was no team chemistry there. I mean, except for Boba Fett, Fennec Shand, and Din Djarin, because we've already seen them together in The Mandalorian. But other than that, there's no team chemistry. We never get to see Black Krrsantan and Boba Fett work together and build the relationship, and these punk-ass kids on scooters. We never get to see any of this. We get to see small little clips, and that's about it. So it's really hard to anticipate like what the season finale is going to be like and be really excited for it when you don't build up your season finale like that. You have to build up every minute of the season, not spend half of it in flashbacks showing us something that's really not that important. I didn't need to see Boba Fett trying to attack a biker gang to get their scooters. I didn't need to see them attacking the train. I get that they were setting up the whole Pike situation, but you didn't even need that. That could have just been a present day issue. And I also didn't need 2 episodes focused on Din Djarin, because as much as I love those 2 episodes in comparison to all the other ones, we already have a show called The Mandalorian, and The Mandalorian is like the show that people wanted for Boba Fett. From what I've seen online and what people have told me, they wanted a show like that for Boba Fett. Even though The Mandalorian has a lot of issues, it's extremely repetitive, it's very predictable, but it's still better than this one. It doesn't spend half the time in the past. It just connects the dots little by little, maybe like some dialogue scenes or a few flashbacks of him being carried away by Mandalorians. He's a Mandalorian foundling, and we didn't need half the entire series to show us he's a Mandalorian foundling. So yeah, the show's a mess and transitioning from flashbacks to the present, not giving us much depth in the present day, and then giving us an unnecessary amount of time in flashbacks, and then showing us Boba Fett's motives and that he thinks he's smarter than everybody else, and then showing us Boba Fett's incompetence as he is constantly being deceived, outsmarted, and getting his ass kicked the majority of the time you see him on screen. On the bright side though, it looked very, very good. It looked like a part of the Star Wars universe, and I love how a lot of characters weren't CGI, like Madame Garsa and the Twi'leks in the Sanctuary, Black Krrsantan, the Pikes, like all that stuff. None of that was CGI, and if it was CGI, then it was the best CGI I've ever seen. But it just gives it a more authentic feeling, knowing that it's something you can touch, something you can feel, as opposed to something that's just completely computer generated. And then there's the best part of the show, which is the live action debut of Cad Bane. Now, aside from the way he looks, he's a little pale in comparison to his character in the Clone Wars, and his face looks a little different, probably because it's an actual person and it's not CGI. Now, aside from that, I was geeking out when I saw him. He was one of my favorite characters in the Clone Wars, and between Boba Fett and Cad Bane, I always liked Cad Bane better than Boba Fett. Like, Cad Bane is such a badass. If I remember correctly, he broke into the Jedi Temple. That is an amazing feat for a bounty hunter to just get into the Jedi Temple. And he's also fought with Anakin, Obi-Wan, and he seems to always have like an answer. He always seems to have a plan no matter what happens. So to me, Boba Fett, Cad Bane just seemed like the better bounty hunter to me, and he proved it in my opinion in this show, because even though he's an old man, from what I understand, his species, the age he's at right now, he's considered an old man, a very old man, which is kind of evident the way he walks around. He's very slow, very sluggish, but he's still faster than Boba Fett, and he's still a better gunslinger than Boba Fett. Like I was just geeking out the entire time. But I mean, of course, Boba Fett has plot armor, so like he gets the jump on Cad Bane and supposedly kills him. I think he's still alive. There was like a red beacon flash when Cad Bane was supposedly dead. So I don't know if that's like a droid that's meant to heal him or recover his body. I don't know what's going on there, but I think he's still alive. I'm not gonna call it too early, but I hope so, because I love Cad Bane. But anyway, it just seemed very uncharacteristic for me to like for Cad Bane to just kind of hover over Boba Fett's body rather than just shoot him. Like, Cad Bane is a very smart bounty hunter. He is extremely intelligent. So why would he give the opportunity to someone who he claims to be a cold-blooded killer with the reputation of Boba Fett to do anything? He should have just walked up to him and shot him in the head. That doesn't make any sense. But plot armor, better than Beskar. And one more thing, because I'm already over the 10-minute mark. I found it very stupid that Boba Fett had his helmet off a great portion of the time. Like, it made sense to me when he was in the comfort of his own palace where he was protected, and when he was with the Tuskens, because obviously he didn't have his armor. But when you're just walking about Mos Espa where you have no crew, no protection, like, people clearly want to kill you, why are you walking around without your helmet? It just doesn't make any sense to me. I mean, he's not a Mandalorian, so there's no creed for him to keep his helmet on at all times. But I don't know if you feel the same way. I just felt like he should have kept his helmet on a lot more and only had it off when he was actually protected in his palace or within, like, people he trusts or something. But yeah, that's all I wanted to say about the show. It was just really horribly put together. Like, it wasn't entirely bad, but the things that I did like about it didn't really have much to do with Boba Fett itself. Visually, it looked very, very good, and I love the live-action debut of Black Krrsantan and Cad Bane and the 2 episodes with Din Djarin. But other than that, I thought it was just a bad season. Hopefully, they fix these issues in Season 2. I know the Kenobi show is coming out soon. I think it's in May. I'm not entirely sure when the Ahsoka one comes out. I know they have it planned, but I don't know when it comes out. And I'm hoping at some point they have like a live-action Dr. Aphra, because I really enjoyed her comics. I don't think I read all of them, but I did enjoy them. But yeah, let me know what you think in the comment section. If you disagree with me or if you share my opinion, hit that like button. It does help me a lot. Subscribe if you have not already, and I will catch you in the next video or videos next Friday. I plan on doing more than one, but either way, it'll be next Friday. See you then. Bye bye.